What were they thinking? This has got to be the ugliest bike I have ever seen, and this thing is actually pretty rare. The price I paid for this thing, I might as well have stole it. Now, this is a 10-year-old project that somebody had abandoned. They had started working on it. They had a dream of what this thing was supposed to be, and they just never got around to finishing it. Now, I'd say their dream was a Tesla Cybertruck, or a cyber bike in this case, but 10 years ago, they didn't exist, so they were going after the DeLorean, I guess. Anyways, this thing is supposed to be a 1985 Yamaha RZ350, and these bikes are going for big money. However, I found this thing for sale for 500 bucks, and I had to go get it just for that engine alone. Now, these RZ350s were a 347cc liquid-cooled twin-cylinder two-stroke engine. Now, this is a very similar engine to the Banshee, and this is what the Banshee's engine was actually modeled after. Very similar, however, these have power valves, as the Banshees do not. These the YPVS, that's Yamaha power valve system, I'm guessing. But anyways, the owner of this thing, I'll show you the ad that I found. Yeah, so basically, he abandoned the project 10 years ago. He lived here in Vermont, in Barrie, Vermont, I believe, Montpelier, somewhere around there. And now he's deciding he's moving. He sold his house. He had a huge garage with a lot of stuff in it. And he's just selling everything. And he's moving to out west somewhere, Idaho or Utah or somewhere. I think he's from there originally. Anyways, now this bike, now don't get me wrong, it's kind of neat what he did. But why would you do it to this bike? Now, he apparently went through and rebuilt this entire engine, and it's never had oil in it, never had gas in the carburetors, rebuilt the carburetors, rebuilt everything. And he sold this thing for 500 bucks. I said that 500 bucks, I bet that didn't even pay for that custom stainless steel gas tank up here. Or not stainless steel, but maybe it's polished or brushed aluminum or something. I don't know. Yeah, it's very flexible. It's aluminum. But yeah. And I got there, and I said, "Are you sure you want to sell this thing for 500 bucks?" Because I knew what these went for, and he did too. But he figured, it was rebuilt 10 years ago. He did everything by hand. He did it all himself. He bought a service manual and everything. And he figured, being sitting, who knows if anything's good. Somebody's taking a complete gamble. He spliced in the wire and harness, completely modified this thing. And he said, yeah, 500 bucks. I just want to get it out of here. Now, I don't know how this thing opens. There we go. But, yeah, never had fuel in it. Tank looks a little dirty on the outside there, but the seat, he did a custom foam thing. It is super uncomfortable. I sat on it just for a second, yeah. So apparently the rear end, and I think the front end, the front fork and everything, is out of like a Yamaha M07 or something like that. That's what he thought it was, but it's been a while since he's worked on this project. He was thinking like '08 or somewhere in there that he took those parts off of. Now, a good thing about this bike is he gave me all the original parts that go to the RZ350 to make this thing RZ350 again. Now, he thought he had everything, and we looked through his pile, and he was missing a few key items, but let me show you what I got. Boxes of parts. I honestly don't even know what's in these boxes. Did I mention I only paid $500 for everything? Look at the pile of parts here. I mean, there's a lot of money sitting here. These are the original rims. I'm not sure about the tires, but original rims and tires that go on them. As you can see, super narrow, especially that front tire versus what he's got on there now. I bet she was pretty squirrely. Of course, it's a very light bike, but it got the original stock exhaust with it. Now these are, they made a few different exhausts for these from what I'm told. These were the most undesirable ones because they had built-in catalytic converters. These were the most undesirable exhausts because these had the built-in catalytic converters. I think they were California approved or something. I don't know. But, yeah, pile of parts. Now, if you didn't know what this thing looked like, this would go obviously right here. And, we got looks like inspection sticker, expired 03, probably the last time she was on the road. And as I said, he's never driven this since he's done this. He never quite finished the project. But I got the rear tail section, the rear fender. That looks like it went to the Yamaha M07 or whatever the thing is that he converted the front and the rear forks to. But those things are not cheap right there. Unfortunately, the fuel tanks are not cheap for these. And to convert this back over, I'm missing a fuel tank. I'm missing maybe a couple side sections. I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm missing the original seat. This was the original pan, but he cut it down to fit it in here. So that's going to need replacing. You know, if I go the route of putting this thing back, but obviously we got to. These were the most undesirable exhausts because these had the built-in catalytic converters. I think they were California approved or something. I don't know. But, yeah, pile of parts. Now, if you didn't know what this thing looked like, this would go obviously right here. And, we got looks like inspection sticker, expired 03, probably the last time she was on the road. And as I said, he's never driven this since he's done this. He never quite finished the project. But I got the rear tail section, the rear fender. That looks like it went to the Yamaha M07 or whatever the thing is that he converted the front and the rear forks to. But those things are not cheap right there. Unfortunately, the fuel tanks are not cheap for these. And to convert this back over, I'm missing a fuel tank. I'm missing maybe a couple side sections. I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm missing the original seat. This was the original pan, but he cut it down to fit it in here. So that's going to need replacing. You know, if I go the route of putting this thing back, but obviously we got to see if it runs first, and I'll see how she goes with the DeLorean look. But, yeah, a lot of parts here. I don't know, like I said, I don't even know what's in here. This looks brand new. That doesn't look like, maybe he had it made for that radiator or something. I don't know. But this is obviously for the original hub right there. And we got all kinds of other parts in here. I think it's everything stock, all the stock brake components. More brake components. We got in here hose clamps. We got a few different things. A couple Yamaha washers. Electrical stuff. Oh, there's the original swing arm. Not quite sure what that is. Oh, maybe it's, no, maybe that's some emissions crap. The original, Now, did he roll that back, or did he get a new one? That must be the original speedometer, or one for this. And then we got the headlight in there. We don't want to damage that. New air filter. There's the original speedometer bezel, or whatever you want to call it. Wonder if we get the tack in here. Oh, he put brand new pistons in it. I take it, because those are the old ones. I figured maybe he just did rings. Didn't really ask him. I asked him a little bit, but for $500, I wasn't turning it away. Honestly, not horrible. I mean, I wonder if he had it bored, or if he just honed it out, because it doesn't look bad. A little bit of scarring right there, but not bad. That must be the original radiator, a little tiny thing compared to what's on there now. And the support, inner fender, must be air box. Oh, maybe we could do something with the seat. We don't have the cushion, but that's if I decide to go back that route. Get the rear brake and turn signals. This looks like it would be the rear brake and turn signals as well. Maybe he bought another one or something. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, yeah, that's... Oh, that other stuff is from the newer Yamaha. This is from this bike. As you can tell, it looks much more 1985-ish. 24,000 miles. Look at a brand new cover. Must be, because this is busted right there. Now this says 83 RZ350, so that must be not original to this bike. Oh, we do have some side panels. Look at that. That's good. That's good. In here, a lot of odds and ends bolts. Oh, there's the closed up cover. You've got a see-through clutch cover on there right now. Man, a lot of parts. You know, some of it might be worthless, but brake parts. Yeah, that looks like about it. Pretty sure I read this was a 85, right? Because I got the title and everything for it. Yeah, 1985. 1985, and it looks like the actual mileage was 25,000 even, huh? I doubt that, but that's what's on this title, so that's what we're going to go with. I'm not saying it's got a lot more than that. I'm just saying, oh yeah, my bill of sale, as you can see, $500. But yeah, the whole service manual, I got that, so I don't have to buy that now. That's good. I think I don't know what else he had in here. He had a bunch of stuff. Pocket rocket. A couple years ago, the only two-stroke street bikes available were used ones. Two-strokes were gone. GPZs prevailed, and younger riders were beginning to ask what it was like to ride one of those. What indeed. Yamaha's RD series bikes were the Canyon Kings for the better part of a decade. The RD350 and 400s were the cheapest light sport bikes to buy and maintain, and their low weight, reasonable chassis, and power made them delightful and ride fast. Yamaha didn't just throw the RZ together, it was an example of how much progress has been made while two-strokes were away from these shores. A stalker will go about 100 miles per hour in the quarter and do it in 13 seconds. What does it say? While both the stock and Stage 1 engines begin their racing power output at 6,000 RPM, the stalker signs off at 9 grand, while the Stage 1 engine continues to gain power to 11,000 RPMs. That thing is screaming. Wow. So this is, okay, a Spec 2 exhaust and the modified airbox adds 21% to the peak power of the RZ. But we are stock here. We don't have any of that stuff. That's pretty neat though that he's got all this in here. Accessories. Yeah. At this point, I don't know any more than you guys do about this bike. I don't even know if the engine turns over. I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping everything's nice and clean inside that engine, but who knows? It's been in his garage or barn, whatever you want to call it, for 10 years sitting. He didn't have any rags shoved in the exhaust. I shoved a couple in there just for the ride home, and I don't know. I'm going to take the plugs out. First thing I'm going to do is take the plugs out and inspect in there. And I don't know. I don't think we can see up through the exhaust because of the power valves, but I could be wrong. We could probably pull a carburetor and check the intake side of it to see. Actually, these got reeds, so we wouldn't be able to see unless we pulled the whole reed system out. Let's pull the plugs first and go from there. Now, I know if any of you guys are RZ350 fans, you're probably like shaking your head and who the heck would do that? And I don't blame you. I was too. But I'm actually glad they did it, because if they didn't, there's no way I would have got this thing. It would have been way too much money. Somebody would have bought this like that if he put it up for $500 with it looking like an RZ350. I think that's the only reason I got it, because it was on there for a couple hours, and I looked at it and I was like, that's a strange looking bike. But I saw, RZ350, and I read the ad and looked, and that's an RZ350 engine. That engine alone is worth more than the $500 I paid for. So yeah, I am glad he did whatever he did to it, because it is now mine and we can do whatever we want. All right, so first things first, we'll pull these plugs and see what's going on. Oh, they're barely hand tight. Before I do that, I'm going to blow this off. While I was blowing this off, I noticed the clamp for the carburetor is just loose, hasn't been tightened up yet. Hopefully I don't find a lot of stuff like that. Pull the plug. I'm assuming it looks brand new because he said he has not run it, and as you can see, never been fired. On the plug anyways. And I don't know why I tried the wrench, because that is on there hand tight as well. Once again, never been fired. Now, let's take a peek inside. Hard to tell, but that, just from the quick glance, oh, I don't like that. You see that thread right there? In that spark plug hole? Hoping I can get that out. I get a hook with a little grease on it. That hook was too big to get in there, so I'm going to use this one. There she is. Very, very fine, but still, we don't want anything in there. I'm sure it's just the aluminum threads. Now, yes, I did stuff these in here for the ride, but I haven't even took a peek, so I don't know if we can see pistons or what. Oh, we can. That's definitely brand new. I don't think this one is. Maybe. To be honest, it looks a little dry in there. I'm going to put some WD-40 in just so we have some lubrication. All right. Let's see here. Okay, she turns over nice and easy. No stick. Good. This coating on the sides. That's probably what that is. This one didn't look like that, did it? Oh, it does. Okay. That's got a coating on it as well. Which he must have kicked this thing over or something, because you can see it's got some scarring on it. Not bad, just some scuffs. But you can see the cylinder wall. Nice crosshatch there. What about on this side? This side too. Almost looks like a mark there. Honestly, it looks pretty good. As much as I thought I was going to possibly tear it down or do something, I think we're going to see if she fires up. We'll go through a little bit of stuff here. Obviously, we need an exhaust on there. Now when I got there, he said, yeah, you're going to have to get an exhaust for it before you do anything. And I was like, now I saw one in the picture, I thought, where he, maybe not, but he said he had everything with it. I said, you don't have, oh no, that's what it was. When I pulled up, I saw the exhaust out of the corner of my eye, not by the bike, but over on the other side. And I said, don't you have the exhaust over there for it? He said, yeah, but that's the original. You're not going to want that. You're going to want a good set of pipes for this, which is true. But I mean, for me right now, it's getting the stockers until we know it runs. And then maybe I'll be looking for a set of pipes. That's good. So, couple kicks. We're going to have to put fluid in the clutch. We don't have any fluid in the transmission here. Get that cranking over a little bit. That's good. Should see if we have spark and everything. I'm going to look to see what this thing takes and how much it takes. Obviously, oil 1500 cm it says. But we'll look that up and pour some in. Because as you see, even when I tip her up on end, there's just nothing in there. It's completely dry. Alright, general maintenance and lubrication. Transmission oil, Yamaha Lube, 4-cycle, oil 1030. So we can pretty much run whatever we want as long as it's a motorcycle safe oil, I would assume. Okay, recommended oil. Yamaha 2-cycle oil or 2-stroke engine oil. Oil tank. Oh, this was oil injected. Okay, I did not know this was oil injected because the Banshees are not oil injected. The Banshees, you always ran pre-mix through them. But yeah, it's got a pump. I think he must have did away with that. Okay. All right, transmission oil capacity. We're looking at total amount 1.8 U.S. quarts. If you just drain it and fill it up, 1.6 quarts. But he did have this thing completely apart, so it's probably going to take all of that 1.8. So we'll go ahead and throw that in there now. Kick that back. Open the cover up here. We do have a dipstick. I don't like that dipstick. Dipstick's broken. The hash marks are supposed to be here. Hopefully that's not broke off inside there, and hopefully he took care of that. Huh. Wonder if he'll answer me if I try to get a hold of him, because I'd hate to, I mean, it's plastic, but still. We're going to hope it's not in there. One of the problems is I'm not going to be able to tell how much fluid I put in, but it is what it is. Get our funnel. And our shell rotella. I run it, Yamaha Lube, whatever, but I run this in all my stuff. I do. T6, 540. It's actually even got a motorcycle on there. It's wet clutch safe. I use it in a lot of stuff. A lot of my own stuff. It's close to 1.5 quarts right there. That's probably about 1.6. We'll go with that for now. the oil worked on that clutch. Been sitting dry for that many years. Probably gonna be stuck, I bet. Come over there, here, and hit it. Open her up. Get some oil in. Close it. Open it. Alright. Let's spray a little more WD down the spark plug holes. Now what I'm curious if stuff's hooked up enough to make it fire. That I do not know. See, we got an exposed wire here. I don't know what these are for, but we might as well check, right? I'm just gonna put these in here. One. What the heck is going on with that? Oh, he still got the cap on it. Two. All right. I'm just gonna put these here and see if we see some spark. We don't have the original Yamaha ignition, I don't believe, because it's not the original key. We have the original key right here, which works for the seat latch. But it does not work for the ignition. So we'll get that on. I hopped on this thing before just to feel it out, and it is uncomfortable. I mean, I don't know what it's supposed to be originally, but I don't think it was designed for a layover bike like a Ninja or something. But that's how he's got it designed right now. And, you know, you're way over here. This tank, you know, if you lean into it a little bit, even where I mean, maybe not quite, but lean over a little bit, you're right in to that sharp, pointy tank. It's not comfortable. Yeah, I hopped off and you bang your shins and stuff. Anyways, let's kick this thing over. I don't know which way is on the kill switch. We'll just try it and see what we got here. If we got in it. I can't see. There, get the lights shut off in here. Now I'll be able to see if it's got spark. I don't see any there. Let me turn the kill switch the other way. If I can find it. Oh, there we go. Well, that's good. She's wired up enough to give her spark, so perfect. I'm gonna check a couple clamps here, make sure everything's good. I gotta get some pre-mixed fuel running. Now, I'm not sure, but this looks like right here, that looks like where a throttle cable would hook up. Now, that's some type of motor. You can hear it. I don't know, is that the oil pump? Or is that something to do with emission stuff? I don't know. I don't see any hoses or anything. I'm not sure, but I can tell this right here is probably, those look like oil lines. So I'm gonna have to plug those off, cap them off, and then we can get some fuel in these carburetors and see if she'll fire up. Exhaust first. The throttle moves pretty good. Maybe a hair sticky. Doesn't return super quick, but she's been sitting for a long time, so I don't blame her. You know what? Looks like we're missing something right here. I'm betting the oil pump was probably in there. Possibly. I'm not familiar with these things at all. Got some little caps here. Put them up in there. One on that side. Nice. That's obviously our fuel inlet right here. And these carbs should be hooked together, I would assume. These carbs are not hooked together, so they both get fed a separate fuel line. What's he got going on here? Do we have? We do. We have two fuel lines. Looks like that's for a fuel pump. So yes, I looked it up, and this is the location for the oil pump. So let's go ahead and take a peek, see if it's in there. We do still have the oiler. Still hooked up. Where's this thing getting its oil from? Okay. I was mistaken. We have an oil jug right here. I told you I knew nothing about these, so. Here's there is no oil in there. That right there would be our float for the oil level. All right, where does the oil go in? So the inlet is right here on the pump. Then we got two outlets, but I can't find where it comes out of the tank. Pop that off. Oh, these things do have batteries in them? I don't know. Little tiny battery. Probably for the charge. Probably to charge. Probably for all the electrical. If that's been sitting 10 years, who knows? Wonder if there's a date on it. These batteries are pretty cheap anyways, being as small as they are. I don't see a date. It's obviously brand new, but Autocraft, Advanced Auto. Okay, so I did finally find where it goes over there, and then we're going to hook it into here. It goes from right down here, so I had to pull this panel off as well. Go ahead and get some two-stroke oil in there. I have no idea if this pump works, so we're going to check it out. Let's see which way this engine turns. It turns backwards. So I'm going to turn that towards me. That's going to work that pump without turning the engine over. You see the oil coming in through the line. Here it comes. See all those air pockets. We do not want any air in there. I'm going to pre-mix this, obviously, because I know nothing about it. Apparently, it's just been rebuilt. We got some oil coming in here. Put that back into place. Okay. Don't see anything coming through here yet. Going to try to get rid of those air bubbles. There's a big air bubble right there. Get that out. Now, once that comes down, looks like nice straight oil. There. We'll see what she does when I fire it up. I'll leave these open, see if we can get some fluid coming out of them. I plugged the caps off for now, so we don't have to worry about sucking air into the carburetors. Now, before we potentially do a whole lot of kicking for nothing, we're going to check compression because we don't know. Now, it looks good in there, so it should be good, but we'll check. Check our clutch side first. What do we got? Oh, I'm bleeding down. See that? Obviously my gauge is not working properly. I was going to say that didn't look good. It looked like 100 PSI from what I saw, but I bet we're leaking at our little valve stem. I bet we're leaking there. All right, took that off, cleaned it. Let's see what we get now. Wide open. Looks like 115 PSI or so. Sounds a little low, but you know, it is brand new, so the more you run it, the more it's gonna, the higher the compression will go afterwards. Usually compression increases after it's broken in. I don't know. We're hoping. We'll see what the other side says. Hopefully it looks the same. Not a huge difference between the two. It should run off that. Anyways, full throttle. About a little over 120 on that one. I think I got a better kick though, or maybe a few more kicks. We're gonna try it. We're gonna try it. Let's get these plugs back in there. You know, it just made me worried seeing that thread that wasn't gonna tighten up, but it did tighten up, so we're good there. Nice. Well, the battery had completely zero juice in it, so I got that on the charger, seeing if it will take a charge. I did look this up. This is actually a electronic servo motor for the exhaust valve system here, the YPVS system. Our cables are right here, so that's how that operates. So we'll go ahead and hook that up. So I couldn't actually see it in the book how, you know, these were routed because they're about the same size cables, so I didn't know. But I did find out they are marked here. We got a 1 and a 2. So 1 up front. And if we come back here on the servo motor, you can see the 1 and there's a 2 down bottom. Hard to see, but there is a 2. This front one I said was a 1, so that's going to go on top. Stretch that cable out. Put her into place. Take that lower one. This is definitely not adjusted properly because we have a ton of slack in that cable. So we're going to have to pop this off. As you can see, he's got these both bottomed out. So the book's telling me to insert a 4mm pin through the alignment indent in the pulley, which is right here, and then there's a hole inside. But drill bit about that size will work just as good. Put that in there, and now we'll tighten this up till we get no slack. So it's telling me to turn the cable adjusters counterclockwise so the free play becomes 0, which it is now. They're way out. And then I just got to turn them in a 1/4 of a turn and lock it. It's about a 1/4. That's about a 1/4. Now we'll just lock down these nuts and we should be good to go. While I'm on this side, I'm seeing this clamp is loose as well. Put our cap back on. Now one thing I was just thinking, there's probably no coolant in this thing. And what in the world? How are you supposed to fill that up without removing your tank? I don't know if it's possible. There we go. That's another thing. He said he's never tested the tank, so he doesn't know if it leaks or not. Hopefully not. Right, now we can get to a radiator cap. Let's go ahead and fill her up. Okay, we got a hose disconnected right there. We're puking out of the top of the cylinder. Where is it? Alright, so it looks like, let me look back in the manual. It is the lower hose where the radiator goes in. So right there, I see the hose, but he's got it ran back to the bottle, which doesn't seem right. As we can see in the manual here, this is the top, this is the radiator cap. The top one goes to this bottle right here, and then the lower one goes down into the cylinder head. He's got the lower one going into the bottle, the coolant reservoir. And the top one, he's just got routed way back here like it's to a vent. You know, I think that's what he was thinking maybe. But obviously it's not a vent. So I'm going to pop the one off the bottle. You can see how it's kinked too. He probably used the same hose that was on there. See how bad it's kinked? Obviously that's not correct. So yeah. And the top one, like I said, he's got it wound way back into there like it's a vent or something, and it's not supposed to be. Alright, I went ahead and got all that rerouted. Now I can top it back off and hopefully no more leaks. Alright, we got it topped off to here anyways. Well, I'm thinking we could probably get an exhaust on here now. Because we got all that. I got my fuel lines hooked up. Obviously I don't have the fuel tank back on it, but I figured get the exhaust on first and then we'll deal with the fuel tank after. Our gasket's on. Not new, but they're gonna work for now. Looks like whatever he did on this back end is obviously not gonna work for this exhaust, the mounting. I'm just gonna wire it up for now. I don't think I would use this exhaust anyways. I think I'd get a different set. But yeah, we'll just kind of get it somewhat in place for now and then figure that out later on. I don't even know if he has the O2 sensors. The wire still wired up or not. Not sure. Because I know he was not planning on using these. And we'll bring this other side over. Got the exhaust system on there. Now I couldn't get any juice to hold in that new battery. Obviously it's old, but it was new. I don't have one that size, so I'm gonna shove this in here for now and go from there, I guess. Maybe. Don't really get any room for this thing. Oh, the terminals are tiny too. Beautiful. Very professional right here. I just don't want to run it without a battery. It might run, but then again, we might damage some of the charging system, you know. I know on some ATVs, you don't run them without a battery. They don't like it. Should hold for the time being. Get our futuristic fuel tank back on here. Oh, that's oh, I don't know if that battery's gonna clear. I don't know if the tank's gonna clear the battery here. Doesn't look like it, does it? Far from beautiful, but whatever. Good old Shell Rotella. Told you I use this for everything. Just joking. Got a gallon of pre-mixed fuel in here. I think he did say he pressure tested it with air. It was good, but he hadn't had fuel in here yet. I don't know. Gallon in. We're leaking everywhere. We're leaking out of the petcock. We're leaking out of the fuel bowls. Like, are they just not tight or what? All right, well, we got some fuel going to it. I went ahead and tightened up the bowls on the carburetor. We had fuel leaking out of the bowls. We had fuel leaking out of the petcock. I tightened that up. I think that's gonna hold. Obviously, the petcock's leaking by because when you have it on, you have no off switch on these petcocks. You have on, reserve, and prime. Prime makes it go straight through. On and reserve, you should have to activate the fuel pump. You know, it should be turning over and to get fuel through it. So obviously it's just bypassing it and leaking through, which is fine if we weren't leaking everywhere else. We were leaking out of the overflow, leaking everywhere. I'm gonna kick it over. We might have got some fuel without putting the tank on. We might have got some fuel in the cylinders because it was leaking out of the overflow. So we'll kick it a couple times and we'll see what happens here. Ignition on. Got our spark plug wires on. Got a rigged up battery. Yeah. If she does pop, I'll go ahead and throw. Oh, we got stuff going on here. If she does pop, I'll go ahead and throw the tank on. Let's see. I think that's on, right? I forget which way I had to kill. Oh, she almost tried, I think. She's trying. That kicker's kind of weird. Oh, there she goes. She's alive. Kind of sounds like it's running on one cylinder though, don't it? Sounds like it's running on one cylinder, man, to me. Maybe only one cylinder got flooded. And obviously we're not introducing any more gas into it. Could be, let's hook that tank up. First time that's been running at least 10 years. It's the first time it's ever been run since the rebuild or whatever he did. Now obviously that rebuild is making me a little nervous because, you know, just seeing all the other stuff that kind of wasn't properly done, but I get it. It's a project that never got finished, so I get it. All right, so I got the fuel tank on. I actually don't see anything leaking right now. Just trying to hook the fuel pump line up. It's a good sign. All right, now let's try to fire it up. Holy smokes, that tank's right in the way. All right, on. Was that the power valve moving? We can hear. Did I get that right? Oh, there it is. Just want the choke. Trying to come to life. Definitely don't want to idle. Oh yeah, how's that? So our pump's hooked up, everything's going on. I have no oil coming out of these holes. So possibly the fuel pump don't work. Doesn't look like it. Fuel pump. Oil pump. Okay, does she want choke or no? There she goes. Get cleaned out a little bit. Yeah, she's not 100%, but she's running. She's gonna need a lot of help. A lot of parts and a lot more work, but she runs. I think that tank's leaking. No, I guess it does look like it's still seeping out of that petcock. Is there even a gasket in there? Yeah, it looks like it. It's leaking. It's tightened down now. Well, that's a start. Obviously, we got everything rigged. I got the exhaust wired up. This side actually fit over here. I didn't think it was gonna, so I quickly wired it up. But once I find the right mount, this side did not. It will not go up high enough with this swing arm. It's hitting that swing arm there. So this exhaust system will not work with that swing arm setup. I don't have the O2 sensors plugged in. That could be causing some issues. The tack was working, but that's about it. I don't know if I was supposed to be doing that. Usually when a servo does that, usually the tension's too tight. I put the right amount of play in it, I thought, but kind of what it seems like, though. It seems like, I don't know, we'll have to mess with that some more as well. But hey, she's running a $500 RZ350 that runs. There's a lot of stuff I got to double check on this thing before I even attempt to take this thing for a ride. Probably should pull the carbs and just check. She's not running 100%. She's not running very good at all. It did open up, but it's like just quitting. Who knows? Maybe just the idle adjustment or something. I'm surprised I haven't seen any oil coming out of the oil pump. So I'm thinking possibly that's bad. There could be a special procedure to prime it. There is a little prime. There's the screw there. That is a priming screw. So possibly I just need to crack that. I'm not sure. But usually, you know, if you run them, you know, they'll bleed themselves out, but maybe not. So maybe that's what's going on with that. But I do have the ports plugged off for the oil injection, and the carburetors were running like 32 to 1 in that fuel tank. We got fuel leaking out of the tank. The carburetors actually look like they stopped. They were literally, that's what makes me nervous about everything on this. A lot of stuff, you know, like these were set on here. The clamps weren't on, which, whatever. But all these bolts, all these little screws that hold the bowls on were super loose. I just tightened them up, and that's what stopped that from leaking. That's just, it's strange, you know. Why would you throw a set of carbs on without tightening the bowls? I don't know. It did run. Obviously, still nervous about what's going on in the engine because I didn't go through it, you know. But, yeah. I think I'm going to have to leave this here because we got a lot of work to do, and we might save that for another video. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch you on the next one, and I'd like to know your thoughts, what the heck I should do with this thing. Just run it as is, or convert it back to a real RZ350. I don't know.